How's it going, knife fanatics? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, guys, we're doing a little cleanup video on this knife I found at a little flea market. It just opened up. There's been no flea markets or pawn shops in my area for, well, long as I've been here. We've been driving around. I have drove around before several times looking and see if there's any little hole in the wall places that I just didn't know about, and there's just been nothing around here. And a few weeks ago I noticed a place had an open sign and said we buy gold. I think it said we buy gold and jewelry or something like that, and I thought, well, maybe they might have something. And so I went in there, and turns out they're like they do buy gold and jewelry and stuff, but they're actually a little flea market, little antique mall type thing. And I asked the guy how long they'd been there. He said they had just opened. He said they'd been there about 2 months. And I was walking around looking and wasn't really seeing a whole lot that I was interested in. And the guy said, well, man, he said, well, what are you looking for? Are you looking for something specific? And I said, well, I kind of like to look at some, pocket knives. I like going around looking for old pocket knives. And he said, man, I have an absolute ton. He said, literally tons of pocket knives. I just haven't put them out yet. And so he went in the back and grabbed a few bags of stuff that he had out. And he had some really good prices on some stuff, and I just didn't have the money to buy them. I wish I did. I hope they're not gone. Yeah, he had some really, really good buys on some stuff that I'll definitely be trying to get my hands on if I can. But the one that I did grab, I noticed he had one, had a white handle on it, and it piqued my interest. And it was in the wrong sheath. The sheath doesn't go with it, but I said, well, let me see that white handled one there, and I pulled it out, and it's in rough shape. It's rough, but it's a scrimshaw Schrade. It's got the ram on it, little skinning knife, little scrimshaw, and it is rough. It's pretty rusty, so paid $5 for it. I thought, for $5, it's pretty rusty, but it'd be fun to make a video on, try to clean it up. And I've never had a scrimshaw. Guys have seen, I've got several old timers, the Deer Slayer and the 154OT and stuff like that, but I didn't have this one, and I never had a scrimshaw. So I think we can make a decent user out of it. I think it's not so far gone. I think we can save this one. And so anyway, let's get inside and get to work on this thing and see what we got. I think it'll be a decent user for sure. Appreciate you guys watching. All right, guys, we're back inside now. Get you a little better look at this thing. I'm gonna say it is pretty rough, as you can see. Pretty rough. But now, actually, I got to looking at it earlier. You guys tell me what you think. That looks like maybe someone had dipped this in some evapor rust or something at some time, because it's kind of turned the rust into like black oxide, like it's been, someone had tried to treat it for the rust. I don't know. You guys would tell me what you think. It just looks like it's turned, like it turned black, like it'd been someone had tried to treat it. So it may not be as bad as I think. But it's going to be a fun one. I think it's definitely going to clean up enough to be a good user. Probably, it's not going to be no show piece or anything, but I never had a scrimshaw before, so this is my first scrimshaw. And I didn't have this this style in the Schrade or old timer lineup. I've got the Deer Slayer and the 154OT, and I'm not sure, I can't see the number on this one. We go to sand it, we'll probably be able to see it, but I didn't have this shaped little skinning blade here. It kind of looks like the one that, similar shape to the one that HT's EDC showed for his final fixed blade, day 5 of his fixed blade challenge. So, really cool. I'm glad I stumbled across it. Like I say, for $5, I think it's worth that for the fun of just cleaning it up. So, and here's the sheath that it was in. Obviously, this ain't the right sheath, but it's a decent sheath. I definitely got, I'm wondering if my queen, the little queen that I got, my dad gave me, old queen that he got when he was a kid. It don't have a sheath, and this might be might work for that. It's probably a little big for that knife even, but it'll work since it doesn't have a sheath, and we'll have to find the correct sheath for this one. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna get started cleaning this thing up, and let's see what we get. I think I'm gonna start right off on this one with the wire wheel, since this one's pretty rusty. I'll soak it down with some WD-40 here. Let's see what this does for us. Alright guys, there's what the wire wheel did for us. It knocked a lot of that off of there. We can see the number now. It's the SC502. I believe is what that says. SC, let me see. Yeah, from what I can tell, guys, looks like that says SC502. So now let's get the sandpaper out. I think it's going to clean up good, guys. I'm going to keep sanding on this, and it's going to be a whole lot of it, so I won't make you guys stick around and watch that. I'll cut you back on when I've made some progress. Alright guys, we are definitely making some progress. Here's where we're at. There's a side we ain't touched. So definitely making some progress. I'm just going to keep on sanding, and I'll cut you back on when I get a little farther. Alright guys, we are definitely making some progress. There we are. This is where we started. I ain't done nothing to this side but just the wire wheel. So I've been hand sanding on this side. Definitely making some progress. I think it's going to clean up pretty good. It's just going to take some elbow grease. I'm going to keep on sanding, and I'll cut you guys back on when I get a little farther. Here's what we got, guys. And that's getting pretty close to just how it's going to be. Of course, you know, it's always going to be pitted. Nothing we can do about that, but I think that's going to clean up great. So we ain't touched this side yet. Just been focusing on one side. Want to try to get down in there better. It's hard to sand down in there. The handles really should come off, but I don't have any pinning material right now. So, but it definitely does need both sides of this tang cleaned up as well, so we'll do that at some point. But right now I just want to get all the parts you can see cleaned up, get the rust stopped best I can, and that's looking pretty good to me, guys. I'm going to keep on sanding on this side a little bit. I'm going to try to get in here better, maybe up here a little better. But right in there is about going to be what the overall finished product is going to look like. So I think that's well worth $5. What do you guys think? Alright guys, here's where we're at. I think this blade, that's as good as I'm going to be able to get this blade. It's pretty pitted, but for a user, I don't think you can really complain about that. I'm happy with that. I will, you know, try to smooth the sanding lines out a little more, but I think that's about as good as that's going to get. So now I'm going to talk about these handles. Obviously, trying to sand around here, I'm going to be sanding on the handle some, but I am not willing to sand through these etchings and lose these etchings to have just for the sake of having a solid shiny white handle. So around these etchings may stay a little darker. I'm going to clean them the best I can, but I'm not willing to sand through those etchings to have the whole handle be looking like that. I think the etchings is what makes the knife, and I don't want to lose those. On these scrimshaws, you can see the artist name that did all the handles, and then he put the date. This one's an 81, the RAM. So I'm gonna do the best I can with this. Obviously, I know these handles do need to come off. I need to be able to clean on the other side of this tang. I just don't have pins right now to be able to repin the handle, so we may come back and do a part 2 on this knife, but I'm going to start cleaning on these handles and see what I can come up with to get them as clean as I can without losing those etchings. And I'm going to experiment with it here a little bit, and then I'll cut you guys back on and show you what I got. Well, alright guys, here's where we are as of now. Handles are looking pretty good. I was sanding on this side, and like I was saying, I don't want to sacrifice the etchings just to get a nice pretty white handle, and I can feel this etching here is getting pretty thin. I can barely feel it, so I'm not going to sand any more on that. That's just going to be what it is. I am going to try to clean it a little bit. I've got a baking soda solution mixed up here. I'm going to take the Scotch-Brite and I'm going to keep scrubbing. And I did not sand on this side. I wanted to test on this side, and I could feel how thin that etching was getting, so I'm not even going to touch this side that's got the artist's name and date. I'm not going to sand on this. I'm going to scrub it the best I can with the baking soda and Scotch-Brite, and then it's just going to be what it is. And I wanted to leave the etching deep enough to where I can come back and color fill this with some black paint and touch that up and redarken that. Get this light better here, and redarken that etching if I have to, because it is taking some of the color off, but I can still, you know, it's not sanding away material. It's still, I can feel the grooves. It's still plenty deep, so I think it's plenty deep enough like that I can keep scrubbing on it with the Scotch-Brite and baking soda and clean it the best I can, and then touch it up with some black paint. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to keep scrubbing on this thing, and I'll show you guys what we got when I make some more progress. Alright guys, here's what we got. So I scrubbed on it for a while with that baking soda and Scotch-Brite. You can see that got it pretty good. It's not quite as white as this side because I sanded pretty heavy on this side like I mentioned. But this was getting pretty thin. I can't even really feel it. I can feel it, some of it over here. So this was my test side, and like I said, I did not want to lose the etching, so on this side I didn't sand it. I just wiped it with the Scotch-Brite and baking soda, and it helped a lot, but it's not obviously as bright as that side, but that's okay. This is not a restoration by any means. This is just, could we save this knife from the landfill and have a nice looking, decent quality user for cheap? And I think we've more than accomplished that. I am more than happy with this. I've wiped it down with some Neverdol. We're going to polish it and run some polish over it and see what it looks like, and then decide if we want to come back and try to color fill some of this back in with some black. And I may try it on this side too. Just don't know if the grooves are going to be deep enough now to hold it. That's why I didn't want to sand on this side. I wanted to leave those grooves as deep as possible so I could come back and put color in it if it needed it. And we're going to see what it looks like after we polish it, and then we'll decide. So here we go. Alright guys, here's what we got. I don't know that the polish, other than the pins, really did much for this. I guess I'll polish the other side just to see, but I don't really see that much difference in it. The pins are obviously shinier. But so yeah, I'll polish this thing down and cut you back on. All right, guys, so here's where we're at. I think that's about as good as we're going to get it. You know, for the shape that it's in, I think that's really all that it warrants. We just wanted to get a nice looking, clean user best as we could, and I think we've done that. I'm very happy with it. As far as my idea goes with trying to get some color back in this etching, I did a little test spot back here. See if I can get it to show up for you guys. I don't know if you can see it right there. And this Delrin is just so absorbent, guys. It absorbed that paint, and I pretty much had to sand to get that out. I mean, I just barely put a spot on it just to see how it would do. And it just stains too easy. It's too absorbent. So if I went to cover this in black paint, because you know, when you color fill like a firearm, I've color filled like my magazines and stuff, anything that's etched like on that type of material, you just cover it up with paint, and the paint drips down into the etching there, the engraving part that's lower, and then you can come back and wipe it off, and then it'll stay down in, you know, in the valleys of the picture and highlight it. But on this material is just so absorbent, guys. I'm afraid it would just leave a big stained mess and look even worse. So I'm not going to do that. If any of you guys out there have any ideas on what we could do to get some color back in that, and if you've done it before, definitely comment and let me know. I'd be curious to know, but it looks to me like this handle material is just way too absorbent to try to color fill it that way, the way that I was going to. So anyway, we're going to wipe this thing down with some mineral oil, get these handles some hydration back in them after all the chemicals we put on them and sanding. Definitely a good idea to rehydrate them. Let's just give it a good wipe down everywhere. Blade. And there she is, guys. I think that's about as good as we can get it. Obviously, it needs sharpened. It's very, very dull. You couldn't cut yourself with this thing if you had to. But with my signal here, my internet, at least I'm just using the internet on my, you know, my phone service. If you guys have watched any of my videos I've mentioned before, once I get over 12 to 15 minutes long, it takes all day and all night to upload, and sometimes it won't upload at all if I get much over 22 or 23 minutes, and I'd say this one's probably up in there. I'll have to edit it some, so I won't sharpen it in this video. I'm afraid it'll be too long to upload, but if anyone you know, wants to see that, I will film it. It's going to take a lot of sharpening. The way I just use oil stones and wet stones. This thing, I mean, it's going to need a completely new edge, so it's going to take a while. It'll be a lot of going back and forth on a stone, but I just, you know, I don't have a belt sander or anything, and so I just kind of do everything by hand, old-fashioned way. So if anyone wants to see that, I don't know if it'd be an exciting video or anything. Might be kind of boring, but let me know, and I'll definitely film it. So you guys let me know what you think about how it turned out. I think it turned out really well, considering how it looked. I'm very happy with it. Like I said, if you guys know how to go about maybe recoloring this etching, let me know. That would be nice to get some more color back in that, but just the way it goes. This is going to be a great carry, and if I am lucky enough to get my first deer this year, I think it'd only be right to skin it with this knife. You guys comment, let me know what you think about it, how it turned out. I think it turned out really well, and appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.